Ishitse.
2.5 minutes. Make sure you have all those questions answered. I'll be cold calling on people to find the responses. Make sure you have your books out as well. You're going to need them.
Oh,
About 1 minute.
see. Oh, sit. Thanks. What time is it?
All right, everyone. Please place your computer to 45 and track me. Thanks, Iad, Moses, Darius, Madonna, Viola, Dopair. You look great.
Thanks.
Now,
Thank you too.
today we'll engage in a Socratic seminar on the reading from yesterday and then apply some of these ideas from the reading to our reading of Sula. I'll be very honest. The people who have done the best today are the people who have done the reading and who have annotated, and are the people who have read and annotated both the Master's Tools by Audre Lorde and Sula. That's the best way to already just have all of this knowledge accessible. It's the best way to be successful today. All I'm looking for you today, I know that the reading could have been a little bit complex and challenging, but I'm looking for effort. I'm looking for people to try. I'm looking for people to be professional, to be actively taking notes. I'm not looking for you to be sitting there staring at the wall for 53 minutes. That's what gets you an F. Your grade will also be dependent upon the do now and the exit ticket completion. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So the objective is to participate in a collaborative discussion comparing Lorde's central idea to Morrison's depiction of life for people of color in the bottom in Sula. But first, what we really have to do is understand that this is where we have to end up. This is the exit ticket question and today's essential question. How does Lorde's text relate to Morrison's argument regarding life in the bottom? That is the essential question. So we have to start breaking down the text that we read last night called The Master's Tools Will Not, what is it called? Will not what? I forget it. Dismantle the Master's house. Those were the words. Okay, so someone pick up. What's the central idea of Lorde's argument? It was the first multiple choice question you had.
I said the first one. I said
Louder, project to the whole class.
points of difference should be celebrated and are a source of strength, especially between women of different races and sexualities, and through this action, feminists can truly enact change. I said this because the text mainly focused on embracing what you think are weaknesses and portray them as strength and
No, I didn't raise it.
like instead of hiding them and being afraid from them, you should embrace them.
Okay. Moses, do you agree or disagree?
I agree because in the story, like at the first part that we read yesterday, it talked about how instead of like acknowledging your differences, you should embrace them and turn them into strength.
Okay, very good. Everyone, you should have C for number 1. That should be your first response. Now, we really have to go a little bit deeper into this text. If you look at, you should already have it open, there's a sentence on what paragraph is it? I believe it is the last paragraph, no, the second paragraph of the whole reading. And it says, it is learning how to take our differences and make them strength. For the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Who is the master?
The master, they're like the high class rich white men.
So remember, when someone makes a point, we can agree, we can disagree, we can build off of it.
Agree.
Say more.
I agree because we discussed this yesterday in class. So I said that the master would be like the rich, like white men, the high class people that would just like have control.
Control, power, very good.
It's not just rich white men, it's white politicians too that control everything, like Congress.
So what was the answer that you chose for the multiple choice? For the multiple choice, there was a question on this, on who is the master?
I chose
Would-
white culture power.
The white culture of power, absolutely. So it's the white culture of power what we decided upon as the master. So what is the master's house?
Master
No, I just answer your question.
who judge people of their identity, their culture, and then they use it. Like,
Go down.
they use this thing as to define how they are.
Yeah, I agree.
So the house again?
Yeah,
It's like society, like judging people of their culture, or like their beliefs, and then they use it against them to define them, like who they are.
I wouldn't say
Okay.
And how
society.
they're different.
Okay.
I wouldn't say society. I would probably say more of like the media, how they portray people.
Society, the media.
I thought it's the master is
Culture.
white people and
So it's the white culture of power.
their control over society. I saw the house as society because in a way, the master owns the house and then the white people is society.
Okay. So what kind of society do we live in
So
as exemplified by this text? What kind of society is it? Because we say the master's
White.
house is society, but what's the framework of that society that makes it such, I don't know, such a suffocating, limiting house? Wait, Kim?
Because like they put you into different categories and they expect you to like follow the stereotypes that you have to go through. That's why it's suffocating because like it's what like they think of you because of like what's God.
Yeah, I agree. Personalities, anybody of color that's not black or like any type of black, like black men, whatever, right? They usually criticize the black men specifically because the black men were the people that were oppressed since forever now, and they will just bully them and disrespect them because they wouldn't understand how it is to be black, and they will just criticize you no matter what, even if you're a good or bad person, they will still criticize you no matter what because you're a difference of color.
Yeah, wait, like in Sula, what is it called? The guy who's on the boat.
The barge man?
Yeah, how he was gonna not take the body if it was a old black man, but it was a child. He felt like because he was a child.
So
But either way, even though it's black.
Thomas, we're gonna come back to that point. I'm gonna call on you later for that.
Also, people who also, other people, like Irish people, like Italians, who also been oppressed by Americans. That's right, other white people. And when black people came here, right, they started to oppress them because they wanted to join in, so they wanted to stick out and be oppressed themselves.
Interesting. Okay. So we're saying the master is the white culture of power. The master's house is this society, but we're still not exactly naming what is the term that I used it yesterday. We've used it in this class to label our society.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
no, to label the framework of our society, meaning who rules it and why, who has created, historically speaking, the framework, the rules, the laws of our society. It's been by these people for these people. Who are these people? Who makes up the government? Traditionally, historically speaking. Okay, rich white men. What do we call a society or a system that is ruled by men?
Renaissance?
Machismo? No. not machismo.
Renaissance?
Why have we used this word so many times in class and we haven't written it down yet? Google right now, a system ruled by men. Fanta, what is it?
It's called patriarchy.
A patriarchy.
That's what it's called?
A patriarchy. Everyone make sure that when you go home, you make an appointment for a tattoo parlor so you can get it tattooed on your foreheads, because y'all keep forgetting. Okay? Patriarchy. The master, the white culture of power, the master's house, this patriarchy, this system that has already been established by men, especially rich, white, able-bodied, straight men, for these kind of men too. However, what are the master's tools? What are these tools? I want to go back to what Jawad said before. What are the master's tools?
Jawad said.
All the master tools are their sexuality, their culture, like things that define them, and they use it against them. I think the master tools are oppression and discrimination, because like how a master uses a tool to his own way fix something, the masters in this story are using oppression and discrimination to fix the world in their own.
Now, are the masters, are they themselves the racist and discriminatory ones?
No.
No,
We don't know that.
we don't know.
Well, think of the metaphor that she's using. The master's tools, the master's house. What imagery is evoked in you? I mean, slavery. So the idea of slavery is, so there's an inherent racism to this, an inherent discrimination to it. However, what Lord is arguing that they've done is something really, really nuanced and really, really interesting. It's not that our society and the men and all the everything and everybody is just so racist and so discriminatory, but what have they managed to do to the individual people within these groups? What have they made them feel? Just stop. Just start.
Disrespect.
Fear,
Categorized,
Disrespected.
fear,
labeled, fear.
lack of information.
Go back to her main idea. What do people feel? And what do they feel about it? They feel different. And usually, if you feel different in the society, what do you also feel along with that difference? Isolation, alienation. You feel like you don't belong. You feel like you're less than. In a way, they don't have to be racist and discriminatory at all, because we already do it with each other. We already do it to ourselves. We've already gotten to the point, bless you, where you are part of this group, you are part of this group. If you're part of this group, by the way, you are lesser, you are different, you will be looked down upon, or at least looked at differently in some way. That already has you as a disadvantage. Interesting. Now, what we have now is a basic understanding of what it means, but we have to apply this to Sula. Let's think about Sula. Let's think about the most important parts of Sula, meaning the people of the bottom. So, when it comes to the bottom, how is the bottom created? Everyone go to your books and go to that page where the bottom was created. Wait. Not yet. I want everyone to have their books out and to be where they should be. You should all have your novels out. So everyone have your novels out. And let's talk about how the bottom was created in the first place. I want you to lead off the discussion. Go for it. So, who is it again who did it? The master. So already there's literally a master. Okay?
Well, he gave the slave a task. If he can put it, he said that you can get it.
What page should we be on in our books for this? Page 5. Everyone please turn to page 5.
It says, it's the second paragraph, the second chunk of paragraph, page 5, where it states that a good white farmer promised freedom and a piece of bottom land to his slave, and if he would perform some very difficult chores. When the slave completed the work, he asked the farmer to keep his end of the bargain. Freedom was easy, the farmer had no objection to that. But he didn't want to give any land, so he told the slave he was very sorry that he had to give him a valley of land. He had hoped to give him a piece of the bottom. The slave blinked and said that he thought valley land was bottom land. The master said, "Oh no, see those hills? That's bottom land, rich and fertile." This is implying that the bottom was supposed to be higher up, like you would look down on other people, but in reality, it wasn't really that great because of the fact that it was quote unquote rich and fertile, but it wasn't really rich and fertile. So he pretty much just wanted to give a slave a piece of land that wasn't really going to be useful to him or to anybody else, unless it was the rich white folks' land.
Interesting. So the bottom was initially created as a means of separation again. Yeah, segregation and manipulation.
I agree with what Jaden said because it really was used for, it wasn't good land for the slave, but it was good because anything that he would, if he tried to farm something and it rained, all the soil would go down to the valley, which were, it benefits the white people.
Thomas?
But after he did it, he told the slave that he should take the land outside because he could look down on the white people. Kind of like manipulated him.
Okay, very good. So inherently, what's been created is this idea of separation now. And it was already there in the first place, but in this community, it's already been established. There is a separation. You are an other. You are different in some way, shape, or form. Now, this idea of establishing a community based on a lie, based on the idea of just separating people to make them enemies within themselves. What part of the text from last night do you think really, really supports this idea and can take us a lot further into this discussion? Anyone can get this. If you really, truly read last night and you can actually get this, point to the exact evidence that I'm thinking of, we'll go far in terms of your grade. You said.
It was the primary tool of the oppressors to keep the oppressed occupied with the master's concern.
Let me just pause for 1 second while everyone enters. What's up? You done? Take a seat.
There's a playbook right here.
Make sure you have your novels out, gentlemen.
There's a playbook.
Thank you, Kishad. You said say that one more time.
Playbook Cardi. I think it's true.
Where do you see that?
Sing home.
The last paragraph of the reading from yesterday?
Smells.
Not the last paragraph, because I don't see it in the last paragraph. The second to last paragraph? To keep the oppressed occupied with the master's concerns. What was the master's concern in Sula?
Like they get the
Did they get did the black people get the good land? No, the black people got the bad land. It was separated. It was distant. There was a level of discrimination and oppression. Now, what does this community, not right now, but inherently down the line, what will they eventually believe as well? Going off of the quote that you just said.
separation of like oppression or that.
To keep the oppressed occupied with the master's concerns. Now, he doesn't have to do anything. What will they do on themselves and by themselves? Sorry? Separate each other. Because that's what's normal. They keep themselves separated. They keep themselves oppressed. They keep themselves in discrimination. They keep themselves marginalized. Did anyone, by any chance, happen to read the poem at the end of the reading last night? Yeah, tell us about it.
It's about a character from Shakespeare who was someone who looked down on people and thought he was better than them. That's what I understood.
Mm-hmm. Say more.
And in the poem, it talks about how the character is talking about how he's the master ruler, master one, and how he's definitely inferior. That's the way you have forced me to see myself. I detest that image. So it's saying that Prospero made them feel like they see themselves as inferior, so they went against that image.
So Prospero, the master of illusion, and in Sula, who was that master of illusion? That Prospero, that white master. It says, I'm going to actually bring it up here so that everyone can see the poem and what it says. It says, Prospero, you are the master of illusion. Lying is your trademark, and you have lied so much to me, lied about the world, lied about me, that you have ended by imposing on me an image of myself. Underdeveloped, you brand me inferior. That's the way you have forced me to see myself. I detest that image. What more, it is a lie. But I know you, you old cancer, and I know myself as well. What did we make from this? And about the idea of this town, separated, discriminated. Now they themselves do what on themselves?
That people forced it on them, and since they're used to it, that's what they do now because they're used to it.
What is it?
Separate themselves.
Separation, alienation,
Inferiorize themselves.
segregation. It's something that now the master doesn't have to worry because, if anything, now by you branding me inferior, look what I've highlighted. Now I have imposed on me an image of myself. Now I believe whatever you have imposed on me. So what I believe of myself. So how can we add this, or how can we relate this and connect this now to just the bottom in general? What other examples of in the bottom do we have of people who believe this about themselves, who act this out on a daily basis? Think about all the characters, all the events. I'm actually going to go right now to Thomas and a point that he made earlier.
What was Thomas?
Oh, what I said about the book guy.
The boat guy. What about the boat guy? Well, how did that image really paint a portrait of the bottom?
It was cool.
Well, he don't care about because he took the body to the police. And they
This is a cool person. He's cooler than me. Is he cool? Yeah.
After like the police, like Hawaii.
Mhm.
Or trying to find out what happened.
Mhm.
Instead of them trying to find out what happened, they just said come to the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it really shows you the amount of like racism and the level of it back at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess one time you said I guess the white folks don't really care about anything about black people, whatever. They just disregard them and do
Yeah.
other people.
Because if you're separated from someone, what don't you really value anymore?
And they only care about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. We can apply this to our lives. Also, in this room, when was the last time anyone here thought about the war in the Ukraine? Maybe a couple weeks, Moses? I mean, it's different. It's a different analogy because they're literally separated by an ocean by a lot of distance. But it does feed to the idea that if someone is inherently separated from you and you never associate with them in a way, what do you lose for them in a way? Interest, sympathy, empathy in a way. You lose a lot. And if this is a generational idea that's been kind of imposed in a society and imposed in the things that are taught to you, eventually things happen, people die, and how do you feel about it? Yeah, you just go like, oh, it's just another one. It's okay. It happens. People, find me examples now in Sula of this kind of self-imposed image of myself, this self-imposed oppression. There are a lot of examples, and if we read and we annotated, we should find them. I'm going to wait for people to begin discussing. Once you find one, give us a page number and jump right in for points. Think about Ava. Think about Shadrach. Think about a lot of characters. Sula, Nell, Helene. Oh.
So when I forgot his name, but it was
Scary.
ex-husband, Shadrach. So
No, her ex-husband isn't Shadrach.
I forgot his name.
Ajax.
The really bad one that cheated on her.
What is his
Not
name?
Ajax. It's Ajax. Thomas.
Oh,
Robert.
so right, so in the beginning she
Thomas.
didn't care about him,
Right.
all that stuff.
Okay.
But then when he came back to go visit his child, that's when like a lot of things came rushing in his mind.
Mhm.
That's an example of that because like she lost interest in the beginning, but like when he came back.
Mm.
Can I say name? It's like,
Which one?
Shadrach came back.
Okay.
And he was in the hospital, and then they treated him like nothing. Like,
Robin.
they were treating him, and they're like, oh, there's someone's not going to make you forever. So they were like, just making him keep himself.
How can we apply this idea of internalized depression to Helene? Think about who she is, her encounter on the train, how she raises her daughter, what she wants her daughter to do.
She is a black woman in a very racist time that doesn't make mom or
So.
Okay, but how can we associate the idea of internalized depression to her?
One, she like showed that she's what side of her? Like her mother. Yeah, mother girl.
What was her mother?
Her mom was like she was very white and her grandmother like she put this image on her that like she can't be like her mom. Like she raised her to be like a certain different kind of image.
What kind of image does she want to have? What kind of image does Helene want to portray and have in the world? What kind of woman does she want to present herself as? Sorry?
As a white person.
As a white person. Would you consider that internalized depression?
Yeah.
Say more about that. Keep going. How does she show this? How does this kind of imprint and kind of pass down generationally into her daughter too? If we did the reading, we should know. I'm going to start. Do not look at me. Look at each other. Start discussing. I'm going to keep grading.
She tried to have perfect hair.
Yeah, she made her daughter pinch her nose. And she said that like, oh, to be pretty or something. Something like that.
Where's that in the text? Oh, the wonders of annotations.
And I like one thing where
I forgot
and then they
I
saw
see.
her as a white person. She lost only one battle for pronunciation of the name. The people on the bottom, who say Helen, they called her Helen Wright and looked like that.
Okay, so on page 55, it says, and Mrs. Wright reminded not to let her know she would but without the least hope in the world, while you're sitting there, go ahead and put it in your nose. And then it was like, it hurts on it, and then she was like, don't you want a nice nose when you go up?
And also when her daughter asked her like what does wow mean Willie
Creole.
Creole. She was like, I don't know. Her mother said, I don't talk Creole. She gave that her daughter what talks, and neither do you.
So how does Helene view, even amongst her own community, even amongst her own family, not even let alone community, how does she view these differences? The differences between her and her mother, between her and the people else in her community. Are these differences empowering? Are they strengths? Or are they weaknesses? Are they things that she wants to eliminate, and why?
She takes them as weaknesses and she wants to eliminate because she doesn't want her to try and become like those things that she takes as weaknesses. She wants her to be different. And
What do you think she thinks of those things as weaknesses and things that are not to be admired?
It takes her herself as a person.
What do you mean?
Like society at the time.
Okay. So,
Or take her identity.
yeah.